Steven Cornejo, KOR Sports Hero. My tocayo, as always, Steven Espinoza.
The mandatory mention of tocayo.
Have to do it. Man, this is kind of weird. I feel like I talk to you all the time, and I'm like, bro, give me good news. What's, you know what I mean? Can you tell me something? To say, it happened. You did it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I certainly can't take sole credit there. You know, it was literally a team effort. I don't think I've been involved in many negotiations, maybe any others, in which, you know, the fighters took it into their own hands. Maybe a little bit Mayweather-Pacquiao, you know, when they met at the Miami Heat game. But that's the only other time that I can think of that, you know, at various points the fighters decided, let's get on the phone and get involved directly ourselves. So it truly was a team effort in getting it over the line. It was grueling. It was as detailed and long and challenging as any negotiation that I've experienced, but well worth it because, you know, this fight has everything. There's nothing not to like about it.
You're not lying, man. You talked about that the fighters got involved. Would you say that was definitely instrumental in pushing it over the line? And I mean, what do you know from those conversations that helped?
You know, it's a really interesting dynamic. I think it shows two guys who, you know what they want, are experienced enough to sort of understand how the business works, and confident in getting on the phone. You know, there's probably a lot of fighters who would say, look, I don't want to get directly involved in that. Not these guys. They were saying, look, if that's what it takes to get this done, then that's what we'll do it. So I think when things drag on sometimes like this, people think, well, you know, somebody doesn't want to do it, or it wasn't the case at all. In fact, everybody wanted to do it very badly at every stage. It's just a matter of, you know, being comfortable with the deal. And on something of this magnitude, of this stature, everybody needs to be comfortable with what their deal is.
How was this deal different from maybe the first time around that, you know, obviously didn't go over the line?
I don't think it was. Well, I know it wasn't that different in terms of structure, or, you know, there wasn't like, you know, this was added in. I think what it was is that everybody pushed past the point of discomfort. So like the first time around, everyone got to the point and said, you know, this is as far as I'm comfortable going. I can't give any more. But then the deal fell apart. And we all had to live with the sour taste in our mouth and the disappointment. Everyone, you know, dug deep and gave another 5 or 10%, and everyone sort of chipped in, and I think did things that, you know, they didn't consider doing before, and pushed deal points to the point of discomfort, and that's the final push that got it done.
Thankfully. I know there's been a lot of rumors in the media about the rematch clause, but I just want to get it directly from you. Can you detail what it is and how it works percentage-wise, all that?
Yeah, I won't get into the percentage, but the reality, it's not a guaranteed. Yeah, of course. No fault, no blame in asking. But it's not a guaranteed rematch. You know, either fighter can. So, you know, it's not one of those. I don't think any of us were particular fans of saying, look, these guys are going to fight twice, come hell or high water. But I think we're expecting, you know, unless something unusual happens, that it would be 2 fights, because I'm expecting a really close, hard-fought fight, you know, maybe a close decision, but something where, you know, there's reason to do it again. And I think the other thing is, all of us would hate for something weird to happen, you know, headbutt, some freak injury, a controversial decision, and not have that option and have to go through this process all again in making another deal.
Barring, say, some accident or a headbutt where, you know, obligatory time off, if they're both healthy and, you know, one man wins, the other one loses, is there a time frame that the rematch has to happen? Is that part of it too? They have the other fighter that loses has to enact it by a certain time?
Yeah, there's a time frame in order to enact it. There's a time frame in order for it to take place. And, you know, all that stuff is, I mean, when the fight takes place is a little bit flexible. Obviously, both guys can agree to change it, but they're two guys that like to remain active. So it's not something where it's sort of like, okay, we'll see you in a rematch in 18 months. I think, you know, if one of these guys decides they're going to activate it, then it's going to happen pretty quickly.
The rumor is, again, I'm here to clear up rumors with you. It sounded like Terence has a 2-fight deal it could be the so is it only the rematch is the second fight, or is it if whoever doesn't
only rematch? No, only the rematch. I mean, look, if Crawford has a good experience and he wants to continue working with PBC and TGV or working with Showtime, then obviously the door's open. But all that's sort of in place is this fight and the rematch.
It's very interesting. So there is no, because I know fans obviously, are talking, and the fighters as well, Crawford and Charlo have been kind of talking to each other as well. Obviously, I'm not trying to get ahead because this is beautiful, but, I wanted to clear that up because if he's locked in for 2 fights, maybe that'd be the second fight if he were to win.
Yeah, well, I think, look, this is Crawford's first experience dealing with PBC, TGV, and Showtime for that matter. So even though like a second non-rematch fight isn't there, I think it's much easier to do. I mean, if he's comfortable in this fight, he knows us, we know him, we've all, been through this, we sort of know how he likes to work. And so I think if those fights are there, whether it's, Charlo or, anybody else, Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Boots Ennis, any of those guys, I think it's easier to make now than it was before this fight because we've got a model in place and I think he's going to have a good experience from now through July 29. So there's no reason why he wouldn't continue to work with us if we have some opponent that he wants to face.
Ooh, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. You mentioned Charlo. I believe he called out Booboo recently or something like that. That was kind of the headline. I mean, that's kind of the first, I feel like, motion towards possibly that happen. What's going on with Big Charlo?
Well, in terms of, both of them, I know, Jermell has been battling the hand injury. Jamal took some time off for some personal stuff. And that's why I think we're still really excited. As great as the first half of the year has been, we're just getting Boots back in the ring. You'll probably see him again. We'll probably see Tank again before the end of the year. Probably see both of the Charlos, sooner rather than later. There's a lot still possibilities in terms of out there. There's a lot of high-level fights to do. So I think if this year isn't already Showtime's best in memory, I think without any question, by the time we get to the end of the year, this will be the strongest year in the history of Showtime boxing. And I think certainly in my memory of any network.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Just last one, Davis Ryan was a tremendous success. 1.3 million, I believe, was the number that got released. Do you foresee this outdoing that, being that we've been waiting for so long, or is maybe Tank and Ryan, maybe more kind of their social media following, maybe they're just overall popularity, push that over?
There's a little bit of an element of luck in that. It's sort of, how things catch fire. You just can never predict it. We put all the marketing out there. Everybody does their work, does the social media. And sometimes it's sort of, there's some element where things catch fire. And look, I like the time of year that this fight is in. Late July, there's not a whole lot else to pay attention in the sports calendar. So maybe you don't have the social media appeal that Ryan and Tank did in their demos, but you've got a lot of other factors. So, it wouldn't surprise me if you were in that range. I think if we're short of that, it's still, a fantastic result because just getting this fight done itself is its own reward. Yeah,
it's definitely a reward for sure. Steven, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for putting this together, sir.
All right,
appreciate it. Good to see you, man.